Okay, so you can really get stumbled in business if you try to do jack of all trades, master of none. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what do you do? Like, okay, so how do you focus that, and how many things should you do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? I figure if you can count it on one hand, that's probably about where you should stop.
5. Nice.
I'm really simple.
So the 5-finger rule.
Yeah, kind of the 5-finger rule. You know, if you can do a handful of things, you have to understand how they actually work. Because one of the things that we do when we work for ourselves and we're good at something, we blend everything together. And this is the problem that, again, I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself. We don't want to sell it individually, but we need to understand that there is a process in the way that we do things, that if we step back and looked at what we did objectively, there's actually a system that we're taking people through as we are looking at evaluating how we can help them. So the real game changer for me was when I stopped selling my time as a service, as a marketing consultant. In the fact that I was charging an hourly rate, I'd come in, I'd have to book time, we'd have to go through all this stuff, and I'd have to figure it out. I'd go back. I would feel guilty for charging them time when I was having to play catch up because I didn't understand their industry.
Sure.
And then come back out again because I didn't have a model to work from. I hadn't been in corporate, where I find sometimes people in corporate walk out and they're like, well, geez, that's everybody charges $2,500 for something like that. When you're starting out and you're smaller, you're like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a huge thing. What am I doing that would be worth $2,500? Oh, well, now we've got this big question here. It's such a conundrum. And what am I actually selling then? Am I selling my service?
Yeah.
Am I selling my knowledge? Am I selling my time?
Yes. Now you've got I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Gimme.
So,
what is it?
So you have to sit down and go, it's kind of a combination of all. So when you finally sit down and go, what do I actually know?
Yep.
What's the process I take people through in my own mind to get the outcome I know I can help? All of a sudden that positions you as an expert. So when I realized and this is how I got to this conclusion, I was working on some copy for somebody one time, and they were in the healing industry. So I moved back into an industry I really understood, started writing for them because I knew the language. It was really familiar to me. So I stopped trying to speak French and went back to American English, which I've now adapted to Canadian English, being American. So, or huh.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll hear it. It'll slip out. My American will slip out somewhere. It always does. However, one of the things that I found is when I handed them back their materials, I was just shocked because they turned to me and said, how come you can talk about my business better than I can?
What? So let's stop for a moment and take a breath.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same question. How did you do that?
That stumped me. I'm not kidding. Rick, it stumped me. I stopped and I said, what do you mean? All I did was write you this report.
Right.
But to write a report meant I had to research you.
Right.
And I had to interview like you. When you're interviewing people, you hear their brilliance. But
absolutely.
brilliance is in their blind spots.